you know, have this conversation with you tonight. And for people who may not be familiar, let's go ahead and tell them who you are and where you from.
Oh man, I go by the name Digga, aka Churchill Powell. From Brooklyn, New York, born in Charleston, South Carolina, by way of Atlanta, Georgia. Just an all-around international boy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now we're going to go over some of your origin story, you know, catch people up who may be catching this for the first time. And then we're going to go into all the dope stuff you're doing now and, you know, the future. I know you always got plays ahead of you, but I want to start with, like, what made you decide you want to be in the music industry in the first place? Like, what made you decide to get in the game and pursue this as your career?
Oh man. It kind of came, uh, I kind of say by accident, you know, like for me, I was already around the whole music industry from my cousins, Pudgy the Fat Bastard,
Yeah, salute Pudgy.
my other cousin, that DJ, Sean. So like I was around it, and then I had uncles who were other DJs and house music and stuff like that. So I was kind of already around it, but I never really knew what my gist was in it until I actually got to Atlanta, Georgia.
Okay.
Where started working. I was given some records from my frat brother Shaka Zulu, and then learning that trick of the trade. I got a chance to work with Left Eye, where I got a chance to switch hats and get more into artist development, A&R, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So like I think it was more when I locked in and started working with Left Eye. It's like really when I started to. I had more of a desire and more of a security for me that I wanted to be in the music industry.
What was it? What is it for people who may not be familiar? What is it that going into that A&R, going into that artistry mode with Left Eye? Like, what were some of the tasks or some of the things you did to help her or help what you guys were doing?
I mean, I just got a chance to like really be a fly on the wall, and I learned a lot from how she was very self-contained, and how she was able to just really just run the whole studio herself, and to the extent of an engineer really didn't need to beat it to that extremity, to that extent. But then still at sometimes, you know, they were there. But then I just got to see how she was very personable with her artists, you know, and that's kind of rare, you know, in some of the occasions. And then even it was sometimes that I got to see how she was willing to champion something that she firmly believed for the artist more than the label believed in what the artist should do. So, you know, I got to see how, and she was a woman in the music industry. So like, I got to see how she got to maneuver, you know, play the cards that was dealt to her. And then, you know, let's really make stuff really happen for herself. And then I also got to see just the synergy of just things in Atlanta, Georgia, and the other influencers that was in the city at the same time. So.
Now, and with you mentioning Atlanta, Georgia, we all know what it is today, but you're talking early on Atlanta. Like, can you set the scenery for people? Like, what was it like before Atlanta became this place where everybody was going for music? Like, you guys started out kind of early on, as you were saying. Like, what was kind of the atmosphere out there?
I mean, it was just a cool vibe atmosphere. And then I think what really took it over the top and like what really put Atlanta on the map a lot more is when Freaknik came into the city. You know what I'm saying? So like Freaknik was really that landmark. And then anything that you heard coming out of the city was everything that was in the city. You know what I'm saying? So like even the New York music that was up bubbling up north couldn't really infiltrate what was really going on more in that culture in the whole, you know, South. I'll even say the entire whole Southeast region. You know what I'm saying? From like 95 South to Loop, you know, Kizzy Rock, you know, East Side Boys, and like all those guys, like those artists really had, and then even the producers like Dallas Austin, Little John, Jermaine Dupri, you know, they had a handle on what was going on in the city. So like when you came into the city, you know, like you heard new music. You know what I'm saying? In comparison to now, like I can go to Atlanta, I can hear New York music.
Yep.
You know, and it's vice versa. You know. So, now, you know, it's just been...
You mentioned Shaka Zulu, your brother you met, you know, when you came to Atlanta. So what brought you to Atlanta in the first place? And what were some of the early on things you seen of him that let you know he was going to become a major success with, you know, the industry and music? And, you know, was there anything you saw he was doing or anything like that?
It wasn't nothing really. It's the same. He was just really following the same blueprint that everybody else was. That was an executive. Nothing really out of the blue yonder, except like he has great people
Yeah.
skills. You know what I'm saying? But outside of that, like, what really made me come to Atlanta was like I was really just coming back just to get a new fresh start.
Okay.
From college in New
Yeah.
York, not really doing well. I was playing baseball then, but then that didn't really work out for me. So my uncle gave me an opportunity to come to Atlanta, learn what he was doing. He had his own civil engineering company, also worked for Fulton County. So like that was more or less like my direction I was going when I came back. So I really came to Atlanta for a second chance to get my education together and
Right.
really
So
figure out what my next pivot was going to be, if I was going to come back to New York. But then the plan, my parents' role was my rules. My parents enforced on me was I can't come back home unless I got a degree or some job is paying for me to come back.
yeah.
So yeah.
That's amazing. So, what were some of the things when you first linked up? Like you had to go to Atlanta for a second opportunity. You know, I know you've been. I want you to highlight some of the stuff you've done, Court, because you're a legend out here. We all know you've done some amazing things, but from your viewpoint, what were some of the early successes you had that let you know this was going to be a possibility and you would be successful? In the industry early on.
Shoot, I think like the first time when I connected Little John and my guy Tyrone Clark with Tommy Boy Records when I helped them do that Crunk album.
Yeah.
So like even then, when I was just a young kid that had no car and was just relying on Marta to get around, and being able to make that plug in, that connection with that, and then helping out the homies, like that's when I knew for a fact that I had that it factor.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, I still had to figure out and learn how to muscle, but not really muscle, because my temperament and my sign, I could be a little aggressive.
Mm-hmm.
And then, at that time when I was starting in the business, a lot of us were still learning. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
like as things started to evolve and develop, everybody was still learning. You knew who the key players were. You know what I'm saying? And then at the same time, when people started to be successful within their own camps, people started to get to the bag.
Yeah.
You know, and then, it gets to the point that we get to the bag, but then we forget that we really gotta play the
Yeah.
rules of the
Yeah.
building. And that's making sure that you deliver the product, and that the product's delivered, that you're ready to execute, and get those numbers.
Yeah.
Like that's the ultimate goal of it all. Like like the artistry part, that's all into it. But then when you step into the building and you make it a
Yeah.
business, it gets to a point that you have to make it execute. Your level of your execution has to be so sharp and
Yeah.
precise. Like you have to know before you about to make mistakes or hiccups, to the point that you can actually pivot, into making something better out of nothing.
Yeah.
So.
How many times have you seen artists that doesn't understand what it
Mhm.
really means to be in the game? Like everybody has this dream. I want to be in the industry. I want a major deal. And then day one of having their deal, you got to go to work. And like, how do artists usually respond to that? And how do you go about teaching them some of the tools of the trade? Because I know you've been inspiration to a lot of artists throughout these years. So what's some of the game you give them early on so they know how to maneuver in the game the way they do?
Well, I mean, first I get to know the artist, and as a person, to see where their work ethic stills.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then, I might find, they may share personal stories with me or whatever the case may be. And like for me, it's like I mean, it's kind of, my theory is kind of, my method of my madness and my theory is kind of off, but it's like, if you're able to get up every day to do
Yeah.
one job, when you go to McDonald's and
Yeah.
do the same job, whether it's a good day or a bad day, picture if you were to do the same thing for yourself personally,
Yep.
and then
Yep.
you still go through the trials and tribulations and the ups and downs. But imagine when you put that energy that you're putting in somewhere to get $1, and then in return of getting that dollar, you're content. But then if you put in that time for yourself, it works out. So I really try to pay attention to a lot of artists that are very self-contained. And then in the day and age that we're in, a lot of these great, brilliant, young cats, they're very self-contained.
Yeah.
So like for me, it's real easy now because I can just really sit with them, get an assessment from them, and then just give them some advice and some direction on what they're doing right and on what they're doing wrong. But then with the wave on how things are going, like a lot of songs, or there's a lot of artists, like there's so many platforms now that they can impact their
Yeah.
music before even going to just the old traditional route that was, laid down back in the days.
Now, what's really dope about you, Court, man, I've had the privilege to meet you a few times. We go back a long time, but you're so humble. Like, if anybody else had their resume that you had, they'd be big time in everybody. They'd be like, you can't talk to me unless you're spinning. But I know personally, you listen to everybody. You give everybody an opportunity. What is it about yourself you think that makes you do that? Like, why do you still stay humble and stay giving opportunities to people when you've been to the top of this game and, you could big time people, but you don't?
I'll always remember about the time that I always wanted to be in the game and no one wanted to talk to me.
Yeah.
And I remember that feeling,
Yeah.
like when I was in the room with big wigs and like Left Eye would pull me to the side and talk to me, and then I would be there in the same room and she would be talking to L.A. Reid about Left Eye Man. It's just, just the ability to be able to like. I always wanted to stay grounded, and then always staying grounded. Like I work every record as if it's my first, like it's
Yeah.
my first and my last project.
Yeah.
Because every experience and in all of my projects that I'm going to even touch or tap in is going to be so different.
Yeah.
The impressions of how I feel with it, the music on how I feel with it, it's going to put me in a direction where I'm not going to do how I work Tweet. I'm not going to do the same thing how I did Player Circle, Duffelback Boys.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like it's
Yeah.
not going to be the same like how I did Ron Brow's Pop Champagne. You know what I'm saying? So it's just the fact that, like it says there, like as long as I just stay humble, I can't
Yeah.
fall. I'm gonna fall a little I'll say on the scales of linking with certain people, working with some people who are not really ready to go run that race,
Yeah.
or even put in that time and that effort, or have that desire to even take the time to just say, you know what, if I just like really take the time and minute to just really just wake up every day and just go with it
Yeah.
and go hard
Yeah.
every day, you can't lose.
Yeah.
You don't know what your results are going to be unless you don't put 8 hours in for yourself. And that's
Facts.
how me and you, that's how, like, this is a year, like almost like
Yeah.
a 1 year anniversary since we,
Yeah.
we
I
started
was, I
doing,
was
you know what
telling
I'm
Sim
saying?
that. Yeah.
So like, it was dope. You kept up with the consistency.
Yeah.
You got big heavyweights on here, and then the
Well, it started with
platformers.
you, Court. Like shout out to you for real, because we were doing it for a while. We had some big names, but when you came in, Head Crack,
Hmm.
Ron Browse, Baz Bunny, Shauna Britt, like Savannah Britt, sorry, and
Yeah.
then shout out to Sincere, my fam. She came on board, and she added that extra oomph that we got now. But I just thank you, man, because when RX introduced me, I told him I was a big fan of you, and it would be an honor to even have a conversation with you, and to know now we've been able to work and do all this stuff together, man. I'm just honored. You mentioned the player circle. I want to highlight that. So we've all heard the story. We might have heard little rumors about you being involved, but what was your role in player circle, Ludacris, early DTP days? Like, can you let us in behind the curtain a little bit of how you helped, with
Well,
that brand? And
for first I was I had a role at DTP as vice president of promotions.
yeah.
I had resigned from Atlantic Records. That was 2004, and just at that time, I was setting up Bobby V's record, Slow Down,
Okay. Yeah.
and yeah, we jumped on a tour together, um, and then came to vice president at DTP. Stayed there for a nice run. Unfortunately, I got let go. Prior to being let go, I took a nice little 2 3 month hiatus. Um, Two Chains, Dollar Boy, my friend Kim Hutchinson, they hit
Yeah.
me up. They asked me to be part of the team. You know, the thing about it was going to be kind of weird me coming back
Mm.
to the, coming back in that scenario.
Yep.
So my friend Kim, she ran the point. I played play circle, Duffelback Boys, role manager, and this really just became and started to become more an experiment with becoming a creative director, and just really putting that whole movement together. So when I saw that whole movement that's grow,
Yeah.
just from the behind the scenes, and then really just putting in my radio experience and my street team experience.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then I'm
We
skipping
can't
a
tell them
few.
all, A&R. Come
I'm
on, he got
skipping a
100
few
of them.
records, bro. I know I'm skipping a few records. I know. I know. Shout outs to the A&R room.
Yeah.
So it just it went from there for me just teaming up with the squad, and then me and Dala and Two Chains and Kim, like we still a squad.
Yeah.
You know.
How, how, did- how,
So.
how does it feel to, looking at it now, but to see when they had that downtime and to see what Two Chains was able to do, like how does it feel to know that he was a part of it, and what was some of the things he did to keep it going that way? Like maybe somebody else is out here and they need a restart or something. What were some of the things you seen him do that help with that?
Well, it's just the fact that like he's a very intelligent guy, man, and then also he got a dope manager, technique that's very strategic, so like they're a very strategic squad when they do their rollouts, and then they maintain their relationships.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then at the same time, they're both, he's branched out and done other businesses and tapped into other platforms that's kept him relevant. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I would say he's one of the few that I could say even when I broke Film Mob,
Yeah.
like those two guys were brilliant, at the same time, but like together, like separately, they were a handful,
Yeah.
you know,
Heard the stories.
so but at the same time, they all had a nice little work ethic. But Two Chains, he had a different work ethic. He played
Yeah.
ball. He went to school, college, and like it's weird and crazy. I say it, I'm still going pursuing it, but like I've learned throughout the years, man. If you don't got your college degree, man, you need to get it, because
Yeah.
like that shit is like the book. That's like a tool that like you can't never, no one can never take from you.
Yep.
Like it's your pivot.
Yeah.
It's like your degree is your pivot in life. And
Mm-hmm.
as long as you're able to, move and pivot and still keep it moving, but still have that
Yeah.
structure,
It gives you a lot
because
more
that,
opportunities.
yeah, it gives you a lot more opportunities. You know what I'm saying? So like, back to the question, is this, he was just a little bit more, he was a little bit more determined
Yeah.
than the rest of the squad of players, the fullback boys,
Have you
because
have
there's
you
a
seen?
lot of other
Because
talent.
I know you've witnessed a lot of these stars become superstars. Is it the work ethic? Realistically, is it the work ethic that separates them? Is it the one that's like Kobe practicing 4 hours before the game? Is that one of the major factors that makes the superstar becomes the superstar in your opinion?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I was in the studio with him recently, and like his engineer is dope as hell. He keeps him focused, but like he's got a chart, like a board of records and
Yeah.
projects and and like when he locks in, he's locked in the studio. 11 to a set. Not no, locked in.
Yeah.
And I've seen, and the other artists that I've seen like that is like Luda. Even like Machine Gun Kelly, I've seen
Yeah.
him like that
Yeah.
as well. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I've got a chance to be around a lot of artists that when I see them take their craft as a serious, very,
Yeah.
very serious,
Yep.
then yeah, yeah.
That's dope. Now, like I said, we were met through RX originally. Your brother Bookie is his manager.
Hmm.
Shout out to him once again, man. And we had the chance to come to Atlanta and do the DJs United with you
Oh yeah,
with
yeah.
the Shadyville DJ. So I want to highlight that
Hmm.
for you because I know your
The
son was a
dinner.
chef. So how does it feel to know that your son is becoming this celebrity chef that he is? He makes the best food there is. If you haven't had it, check him out. But how does it feel as a father to see how successful he is with this, career he's chosen?
Well, I mean, shoot, I'm very, very proud of him. I'm a grandfather now,
Yeah,
just to give
congrats.
you a heads up. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. So like, he's made me a grandfather now. So now like I'm very proud of him because like it's a lot of his moves and his decisions,
Yeah.
you know, even though it's two different separate fields, like there's a lot of things that reflect our decision, what his decisions and stuff that he's making now. And then for him to be able to get back into it because he took a break, but to just to be as dope as he is, like I'm just excited. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm just like that dad that just wants to buy him a building so he can just do his thing, and I can just sit to the side in the corner of the spot, you know, and let him do his
Yeah.
thing, and then
And
I can go play with my grandson Sebastian. You know what I'm
and
saying?
that was what's so dope about this dinner. All the Shadyville DJs are there, and you made it a point to give them a dinner, and you made it a point to make sure they were honored, with the jacket ceremony. Like, what is it about Shadyville DJs and your relationship with them that makes you want to to keep this brand going and to
Oh,
give love to those members of the coalition?
well, well, I say this like first I got shout out DJ
Yeah,
Moolah, A Will, Corey Giles, D
yeah,
Mills, live. Like I was in a trend, I was in a space, I'll say about a good 4 years ago where I was in a point like I was going to throw in the towel with just the industry in
wow,
general
okay,
and just like really focus on finishing my degree, do all the stuff, and just like really just take a nice little chill from it.
yeah,
And then the homie Rich Nice had plugged me with an opportunity to do something during the pandemic called Let the DJs Play, and then he told me to grab some of my DJs, or recommend some DJs I had.
yeah,
So I had met Sabrina Britt, Sabrina introduced me to Moolah, and then that's how the relationship started with me and Shadyville DJs, and then it just turned into me becoming the creative director for the company as well as the treasurer and
yeah,
just doing a lot of dope stuff and activations for them. And coming up in April 29th to May 3rd, we're going to be doing our 20-year anniversary in Las
yeah,
Vegas. So,
yeah,
I got a lot of things planned for them that's kind of dope. That's not it's not just the regular average rate DJ retreat, but this is more for my guys to really get their content together, get more of their shows tighten up,
yeah.
a lot more building, a lot more mental health, a lot more of a little small
Dope.
little mini vacation, but at the same time, I want to make sure that we put in so much work that we be locked into 2025.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. Now, are you going to be reaching out to some of the older? I know there's a lot of Shadyville DJs. You said 20 years, so there's been a lot of them throughout the years. Is there thoughts to
Yeah.
reaching out to some
Yeah.
of them and having them
Yeah.
come
So
back out? Or
so I have DJ
yeah,
E-Rock. That's the 49ers DJ. He's a Shadyville DJ. Incognito in North Carolina, who's the program director of WPEG Power 98. He's a Shadyville DJ. DJ Rec One,
yeah,
who has
salute.
a
Right, that's my
R&B.
fam.
Yeah, he's a Shadyville DJ as well. And then we have a few others that are coming out of the woodwork, and I'm gonna also dedicate an award to Who Kid and
Yeah,
to Live and the Cool and those guys because like they were the individuals that really started Shadyville DJs in 2004.
yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah.
Now, you mentioned the rollout. I want to get some free game if we can. What's a rollout in your eyes? Like, there's a lot of independent artists out there. They think put their song on social media and tell somebody to go to my link and that's it. Like, from Court Digga's point of view, what's like the rollout leading up to a song or the rollout after the song? Like, can you give us one or two tidbits of that?
I'll say this first. Everybody should have a website.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Like the importance of I feel like there's more of an importance of having a website than having an Instagram page or a Facebook page or a Twitter page or a TikTok page.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Like, I think we've gotten so caught up, and no disrespect to Instagram while we do this Instagram live, live,
yeah,
but like I think we put so much time into these platforms that we forgot
yeah,
where we really lost our true power and and to keep and protect our own intellectual property is to have our own websites. You know
yeah,
what I'm saying? And then you can put all of your social media platforms on that website.
yeah,
And then the reason why I say that to independent artists now, I want to work with artists that have the ability, that would have the ability and will get the ability to, that the minute they put up their music on their website, before they put it on the social media platforms that they get no money for, why don't you put it on your website
Yep.
and charge $1.50? You know what I'm saying? And then, work that direction first, and then you get two results. You get sales, and then you get immediate self satisfaction, you just feel, you get a different level of feeling.
Yep.
You're
You
not
you
look you're
you
not
develop a tribe now, so they come to your website and they know I gotta buy this song I like. Now I'm
Yeah,
gonna come back every month to see what's new. Like
right.
Mona Love said in her interview, go to iTunes and pay the $1.29 versus streaming it. Like the direct to consumer is definitely coming back, and you need a website for that.
Yeah, like let's drive everybody back to the website. It's like what I do with my comedian Drew
Yeah,
Thomas. He has a website. He has all the social media
yeah,
platforms. But like, him and I, we battle. Yo, man, let's drive everybody to the website. We're trying to sell merch. You trying to put your new clips up.
yeah,
They can go follow you on all them other social platforms. Let them do that there. But I need to drive traffic. Traffic adds value
yep,
to you.
yep,
You know, like we get a few value from the monetization when we do Instagram and Facebook and all that stuff. But now it's at a point like you're getting cheated.
yeah.
So why not just flip it? Flip the game and let's go back to, oh, I got my website. Go to my website.
Yeah, it
Like
does
think,
seem like we're going full circle a little bit.
yeah.
The way the game is changing right now before our eyes. They got vinyl selling with the kits again, and you mentioned Drew Thomas's tour. What made you pick up a comedian, and what are you looking forward to this run versus some of the other runs you've been on where it's more music and stuff related?
Well, me and Drew, we went to college together,
Oh, okay,
and
dope.
yeah, and as he started his comedy career 20 years ago, I was pursuing my street
Yeah,
team industry career. So him and I like brothers, and then
dope.
I used to just, in time, I used to just help him when he would go in certain cities and plug in with radio, and do other stuff like that. And then it got to another point that past 2 year, it's been the past year and a half now that I just really fell more back into the role as being his manager, and then help him out with his branding
Yeah,
and stuff like that. And then like the first comedy tour I was really on was with Chris Rock, when I did the Big and Blacker tour when I was working for
oh,
HBO. So
cool.
like
Okay,
I
dope.
already had a taste of being on the comedy run and all that stuff. But then when I started to work with Drew, my brother, like I started to learn a lot more of the behind the scenes. I had promoters telling me not a lot of comedians have managers
Yep,
and blah
they
blah
don't.
blah. And I was like, what you talking about? Like he's
Yeah,
popping, you know what I'm saying? And then it's like it got really fun and cool for me, because this game, like when I was able to negotiate numbers a bit, this stuff, and people were willing for it because they saw his following, they
yeah,
saw the views, and then they saw the value in him. Like it gave me a whole completely different burst of
yeah,
energy. And then I was able to take all of my music industry experience,
yeah.
and to add it here, but then not, but then here I'm able to time it, schedule a little bit more, and then really just make the whole rollout. And it's been really fun, man. Like it's
Yeah.
super, super fun, man. Super cool.
I always tell people when you're in this music industry, don't forget those skills transfer. So everything you've done for any record label, go take that to a Fortune 500 company or 500 company and get you get that same, because they all want the same thing. They want the attention. They want
Yeah, they
that.
want that.
But
Like,
Court, you specialize in street teaming, so you know how to activate the people. So that skill
yeah.
set goes anywhere.
Yeah, like I did, like when I was on the Tommy Hilfiger tour, when I was working for Estee Lauder doing all the color cosmetic, I had a 12 girl street team, wrap white bus with Tommy Hilfiger on it. Literally sat in a class for 6 hours
Mm-hmm.
learning about
Yeah.
eyeliner and all of that stuff,
Yeah.
the girls knew it, but I had to know it,
Yep.
just so that when we went
So you can
out
talk
to
about
the
it.
venues, they had to talk about it, distribute it. And so like, yeah, like for me it was fun because I knew for us then early, like music industry, like that's the rollouts and then the guerrilla marketing, like a lot of companies and corporations were looking for that.
Yep.
So that's
Yep.
where you had like the whole, you know, a lot of companies coming like Pepsi and Coca-Cola and Mountain Dew and, you know what I'm saying, coming to do stuff
Yeah.
like that. Like even like with Red Bull's whole rollout, you know, so I saw, you know, any opportunity that they was like, hey, you know, there's this opportunity to go on the road doing Tommy Hilfiger with 12 models and you got 15 other models and 10 other markets and you're going to be a street team. Who wants to do it?
Yeah.
I'll do it.
Let me go. Yeah.
You know, as long as I don't got to wear no pink shirt or nothing,
Right. You
I'm
ain't got to do
cool.
nothing.
You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? As long as I can be the guy in the corner in the cut, I was good. So like I made it my business to make sure, if even if not make sure, I always wanted to experiment with taking my skills to other facets of the business world.
Now we know you've had an intricate role on the executive side of the business, and like you said, the street teaming, the get out here on the people, tour manager. What side do you like more? Do you like it more behind the scenes, creating the dream and helping people's careers, get started, or do you like it more being on tour with like a Ron Browse and pushing the dope records and introducing them to the fans?
It's kind of a combination of both now, but now I want to get on the road with the young cats.
Mm, okay.
And I want to get on the road with the young cats and see how they really get down and get busy on the road,
Now, are you
you
talking
know.
about
And
up and
then
comers that don't have buzzes? Or are you talking about the up and coming that already have a little name, but they just need
anyone,
the first
just
tour?
anyone, just anyone who I just feel like they have that drive and they already starting out and they already got things in place in pocket, you
Okay.
know. Like
Yeah.
for me in the position that I'm in now, like if it's going to be something that I'm going to want to be hands on from the ground up, like for example, I got a young man very talented by the name of TJ
Yep.
Brown out of Harlem,
Yep.
and I could say he's an artist that I'm most definitely going to take through run him through the whole, not just the state, not even just the United States, but like internationally. So like he's someone that like I would say that I would take everywhere with me,
Yep.
you
Yep.
know, just so he can get all the impressions. But at the same time, you know, he would be one of the few artists that I would share my black book with.
So how did you guys meet, and what made him have that special to get that extra treatment? Because there's a lot of artists out there I know you've talked
Um,
to. So what about
I,
him that makes you say I want to go
about
above and beyond?
above and beyond for TJ, two things. I discovered him from Ron Browse because Ron Browse is like it's like he's like an uncle to him.
Okay.
And then
Dope.
I met his dad. His dad and Ron are close friends. And the cool thing about it is that Ron and Five used to be on the road together and used to travel during Pop Champagne in those years.
Okay.
So um, after I got to meet TJ, and then also TJ is also an actor, so he was in the Netflix series To Get
Oh,
Down.
dope.
You know,
Yeah.
he also played Nas in the Roxanne Shante movie. So like for me, what I wanted to get into, not just into this artist that rap, but artists that also can act or can do other facets. And when I saw him and I already saw this
Yep.
platform, I saw his following, you know, I saw his support, I was like, yo, I really like this young man.
Dope.
You know,
Dope.
he's
Yeah.
focused, he's sharp, you know, the family structures, it reminds me of me and my
Yeah.
son. You know what I'm saying? With Five and you know and TJ, and then also TJ has his manager that's real cool, and then he also has his friend Flex. So like there's a
Yeah.
nice circle, like their infrastructure and their circle reminds me of Player Circle.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Oh,
saying?
damn.
So it's like,
Okay.
you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? It's like a little Player Circle vibe. And like the only thing they're missing right now is like my homegirl Kim. Like Kim Hutchison was like the
Yeah.
the glue to keeping the madness together. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
She's
So
doing real
like,
estate now, though, right?
yeah,
So
yeah,
she's a little
yeah.
busy.
Yeah, she's a little busy right now, you know. But then also she has a well, I also got shout out a nonprofit organization called Give and Exchange.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So like I want y'all can also tap in with that also. But yeah, it's just like I just really like this kid. Like he gives a whole different energy and he's from New York. And you know my method of the madness. Like I'm always trying to tap in with something somewhere else that no one isn't. But
Yeah.
then if they are, I'm gonna try to find that like little diamond in the
Yeah.
rough, you
Yeah.
know, that no one don't really know about.
Yeah.
and like TJ's that one,
I think that's one thing that separates me, you, people like us. We're not out there looking for the hit everybody wants. I want to find it before it's the hit. Like
Yeah,
I pride myself in having songs before you, Court. I
yeah,
want you to hit me one day and be like, "Yo, where'd you
yeah,
get that,
yeah.
dog?" Like
It's like
that's
it's
some,
like when I sent you that
yeah.
honey baby.
Yes,
Touch it,
hey,
right?
I want to talk
Yeah,
about this
yeah.
honey baby because this goes to show relationships. This goes to show like you hit me with honey baby, Esso hit me the same day, and then we got connection with Jimmy, already, and
Mhm.
we posted her, and we've been watching the progression. But the new song is going bananas. But it's just so great to see an up and coming artist get a little exposure from people like you and Esso, getting the right team behind them, and then seeing how fast it can grow. Like, what was it about Honey
Mhm.
Baby that caught you, and how proud is it to see where she's at now? Songs with Buster and all this dope stuff she's
Well,
doing.
I mean, it was more of this just support from James McMillan and K-Mac, the whole Art at War squad,
Yeah,
and like they've done a lot for me in my career.
yeah,
So like they're like anybody who I call the squad, like they can call me and I'm gonna help them out,
yeah.
And then
Dope.
and one thing I can honestly say that's missing in the industry is like there's a lot of dope
Yeah,
people, but the dope people ain't creating enough dope synergy amongst ourselves.
yeah,
And
yep,
what's really missing out is like, a lot of people say like a lot of people are holding on to what they got, but I don't even think they're holding on. I just feel as though they just don't know how to share. You know what I'm
yep,
saying? And then I think sharing equals that synergy.
yep,
You know what I'm saying? Like, how did you think Leor and everybody at Def Jam and not just Def Jam at like all these other labels, how did they really run the industry? Because they were all friends.
they were all friends. Yep, yep,
Like all these people that are higher ups are friends.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? And then the only people who aren't friends are us that are in the middle because we're so highly in competition with each other that we've boxed ourselves out to the point that those who stay stick and those who don't go out the
yep,
door. But guess who still stays in the positions they're in? The
yeah,
higher ups. They still
yeah.
friends.
Because
And I think
yep,
like, and I just feel like the more of us, the more dope people of us that are out here that we see, others that have situations that can make plays and make them and do it and create that synergy in the industry and shake it up
yeah,
and help everybody,
yeah.
then everybody will win. But
We
until everybody,
just did a post today where SO is telling or Ray Daniels is telling SO on Bagfield that the label should give them a label deal, a podcast, and I'm in agreement with that because SO and Ray Daniels are label people, and yourself, Court. I believe this for you as well. Like there should be a label created by you that can teach all these independent artists how to really do this. Like they say, there's 500,000 songs a day. Well, nobody tells them what to do, so nobody's making money off that. But imagine you just told them step one, that gets you $1 now. Step two gets you $4, and we can help a lot of people. How do you feel about that? Some of the legends getting out here and either starting our own labels or consulting more of the independents on how this process really works.
well, um, I'm kind of really against labels.
Okay.
So,
Okay. Yeah.
because like honestly, like labels are just
Yep.
banks. We should be talking about who's going to start opening
I
banks
like
so we can go
it.
ahead and give
Yeah.
people loans. You get what I'm saying? Like
Yep.
I I I, I get I get it's like it's I'll say this like the labels only benefit artists who are real who are at a point where they're coming to them to buy them out.
Yeah.
That's how
Yep.
that and when I got into the business, that those are a lot of the deals I saw coming through. There was only a few deals that artists that got signed and they had development deals and they felt like they were good. But the majority of the artists that came in the building, they already had a buzz. They
Yep.
was a shit. They was already getting to the bag. You
Yep.
know what I'm saying? And
I'm glad you
that's a
say that because our people today think it's changed. No, it's always been the same way. You got to be hot before the labels come, and
yeah.
they're not running looking for nobody or anything like
Yeah,
that.
yeah. Like I remember when, like, even now to this day, like I didn't never want. I never wanted a job at a label.
Yeah.
Like when I got it, I was like, oh, like when I got the job at Alexa, I was like, oh snap! And I know when it really hit me, I was sitting at my desk, and I was like, oh shit, I got a label job.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then when I moved in chairs, then I was like, oh wow, I'm really working at a record label. because now I'm talking about budgets and
Yep.
I'm opening POs, and then I'm calling the homies, telling them, yo, I'm about to put you on the tour, and you
Yeah.
know,
I
I'm
think
not.
that's one of the major differences, like you said, besides majors being a bank, which you can go do that on your own if you know how to invest or anything that like that. It's relationships, as we've
Hmm.
discussed this whole time. They tell you to talk to court, and then court takes you and does all that other stuff. But if I'm not assigned to that label, I can't even get that conversation with you. So if there's a way to bypass that, which what we're doing, you're consulting
Hmm.
already. So because everything's digitalized, I think you've already seen what's coming next. So you're positioning yourself to become that guru of this industry, because a lot of people out here talk it, but Court, you really did it. Like, how do you react when you hear some of these people giving this game away, and you're just sitting there saying, "Nah, that don't work." But how do you respond to those type of things, that the misinformation that goes on?
Well, well, it kind of say like this, like I can't really just tell someone who's wrong on the information that they spitting unless they did it.
Yep.
And
Yep.
if I know, and I'm a nerd at this,
Yeah.
so like
Yep.
I know who was the first. I know if I don't know, someone will tell me who was the first and that person or that. Like
Yep.
I'm never gonna walk around like I know everything, but I know enough people that's gonna tell me and give me into the proper information that I need.
Yeah.
So like the people who come up with these interviews and they say that's doing the infomercials, they're doing these, doing these stuff, like I don't know half these people. I never came across them. But
Never
that
seen
but
them
that doesn't
before. None
never
of that.
seen them
Yep.
before. But then at the same time, I always say to people, yo, just because I don't know them,
Yep.
don't mean that they're somebody. Because I've always stayed in a lane
Yep.
where, I try to be around people who cut
Yeah.
checks.
Yeah.
And the
Yeah.
people who cut checks ain't the same age, ain't my peers.
Yep.
And then even my peers who's cutting checks, they ain't cutting them fast enough.
Yeah.
You know, so like, mm, I'm all right with all that.
Well,
You know what I'm saying?
what
So
can
it's like when
someone
I see
do?
it,
What can an artist or talent out there, someone, what can they do to catch your attention? Maybe they don't know somebody who knows you personally, Court, but they really like what you do. They've studied your background. They say you could be an intricate part to us. What can they do to impress you to make it even catch your attention?
just hit me up and talk to
Okay.
me. I could, as a conversation alone, I could tell.
Yeah.
I'm
So what are you
52.
looking for from that first conversation? Maybe 5 minutes. How can you tell? So if somebody calls you after this conversation and they don't hang up immediately, like what are you looking for them? Are you looking for them to have a game plan? Are you
Yeah, I
looking
need
for them to be
to know what you're
hungry?
trying to do. I need to know what you're doing in the next 30 days.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like you got to tell me what you're doing. You got to tell me your calendar.
Yep.
If you could tell me your 30-day calendar or your 45-day calendar, and even including it, on these days, my personal days. If you could tell me that, and I
Yep.
know that you got that together, your calendar, and the next thing is you ain't got no financial situations, you ain't got no back rent, you ain't got no baby mama shit,
Yep.
you ain't got no drama, you ain't got none of that, and you just here to work, and you got that, and you got the calendar, and you got no drama,
Yeah.
I'm ready to work.
Yeah.
That's all I look for. If you ain't got that,
Now, I'm definitely
I don't
working. Like we mentioned Ron already, but I want to highlight him because it's really dope to me, Court, that 2 Chainz, Ron Browse, these are people you've known for years. You helped them early on, and to this day, you still work with them. Like you were just on tour with Ron Browse.
mm-hmm,
You're breaking started as we
mm-hmm.
speak, and you got 2 Chainz to get on Ron Browse song. So how's it feel to know your name is still valuable out here and those relationships are strong? Because a lot of industry people, I don't know if we could say that this many years later.
Well, you know what it is, man? It's just I just do good
Yep.
business, and I put in the work, and they
Yeah.
both saw the work I put in for both of their careers,
Yeah.
and like like I said, I work. Every record I work it as if it's my first and my last,
Yeah.
and I always make it about business. So like even when me and Chains and Dollar Boy was on the road, like I kept it about we hung out a lot. We those my their
Yeah.
family. But when we got on the road and we got to work,
Yep. Business.
I went into work
Yeah.
mode because I know that everything that I touch, every market that I go to and I make an impression, I know that by the time we get back home 14, 12 days later, we're gonna be
Yeah.
good for a good 2
Yeah.
months, and we're gonna be rocking, you know. So like
Yeah.
for me,
Salute
it's a good
Mula.
feeling, man, because like it shows, you know, I went up against all odds,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
and to come back and double back, you know, and do it. And then to be able to still see the homies still do their thing and be in their lane. Shout outs to the homie
Yeah.
Moolah.
Salute Mula.
And then, you know, it's just the fact of just being able to call them is really,
Yeah.
you know, that, you know, and be in their space and they hit me up. It's dope.
And
You know, it's super
and
dope.
you really early on, when we first started working together, connecting, you did something really dope for me. I don't even know if you know, but you hit up DJ Gino and was like, "Yo, my homie Matt, he wants to go to this Nelly Ludacris show," and I'm like, I'm at home chilling, and Gino hit me out of nowhere like, "You want to come?" And I get
Uh-huh.
to go to the show behind the scenes, get the footage and all that, and it really, helped me a lot just because you gave that endorsement. And we've talked about this whole interview. You endorse a lot of people.
Hmm.
Um, what do people do to help you though? Let's get to that side. We've talked about how everybody is getting benefited by knowing you and that, but what can people do to help you, or what are some of the things people are doing already that you want to shout them out for,
Oh,
that time and
oh
effort?
man. Man. It's early in
Yeah,
2024, so
yeah, yeah.
I'm gonna be political on that cracker. So
It's a new
ain't
year,
no
so it's just start, right?
it didn't start. So ain't nobody plugged me
Yeah.
yet. But but I mean, I don't really ask for much, man. Like the blessings I give and the looks I give, man, those are my blessings. Those like to see and to help people and watch their dreams or just the stuff that they're trying to do to come to fruition
Yeah.
is like is like eating apple pie.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because like you it work. It's the plan. It's like it's you know what? I'm like Hannibal Lecter in the 18.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Like the plan's gonna come together. I just need the squad and the team that's to follow my lead, and it's gonna work.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
It, it,
saying?
something really dope, this whole conversation, a whole hour of talking all this promotion, marketing with it. You've never mentioned a dollar. You've never said, well, hit my Cash App. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think people really realize that in this music industry, yeah, it costs unless you know somebody. And if you know someone and you added value, or you've done, like I said, Court, you've done so much for me in my life. I can never pay you back just because you allow me to say I knew you, made doors get flown open. So, you know what I mean? And I can't, that's why I was so dope when Sincere said we had this interview, because I just want to thank you for that, man. Because you told me to become a Fleet DJ, and then I met DJ Manny Faces, and we started doing your radio show. And I want to give
Hmm.
a behind the scenes of how opportunity works. He said you got the radio show, and I got to come up with 30 minutes to an hour worth of material. I got a lot of artists, but none of them got clean music. So the limit is you got the opportunity you've been waiting for, and people say they want it, but they don't want to end up doing the work. So we had to chop it up and get it done. But I just highlight that for you because you've given so much people back. I know you got Rockstar Wireless and a contest going on, so let's
Yeah,
get into
yeah,
that.
yeah. Let's get
What
yeah.
is the
So what?
contest and how do people enter it? And what are you doing
Um,
with it?
so Rockstar Wireless is a new company I'm partnered up with. I've been always into the tech world. Rockstar Wireless, we're giving away one free year subscription for cell phone service, and along with that, we're gonna also give an iPhone
Oh, dope.
on top of that. Yeah, yeah. So this service is very inexpensive. It's 19.99 a month.
Okay.
Um, it's unlimited text, unlimited calls. It's the same bandwidth that you would get if you had an AT&T or T-Mobile phone.
Oh, okay,
Um,
dope. Yeah.
yeah, the cool thing about this is you can grab a SIM card and you can plug it into your lock to unlock phone. You can go to the website. We also have phones there that we sell that come with them as well. And this is mainly something more of a company that I got involved with that I'm able to do a lot of activations and stuff with artists
Yeah.
and producers and creators and content. And so this is more of the people and help you save your money on these pockets because these AT&T bills, no disrespect, bills is expensive,
Yeah.
and the way things are going now, how they are going now, a lot of things are downsizing and smalling. So let's just go ahead and start to save a
Yeah.
little bit of more money on our cell phone bills a month and instead of blowing it because a lot of people out here spending a lot of money not just on their cell phone bill, but also the rental of the actual cell phone. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
this is something I just,
Now
been involved with. Go ahead.
we've all seen the layoffs that happened recently in the industry, and
Oh
everybody's in a
yeah.
panic mode. What are your thoughts on this, Court? I know you are a visionary, and you kind of pay attention. Like you said, you're a nerd to this stuff. What are you seeing next that people should be anticipating, or any moves we should be making to anticipate what's coming next
I
from
could
you?
say, well, I could say this much. One, um, it's very important for people to watch how a company led off
Yep.
a lot of people to save
Yep.
money.
Facts.
But then if you really looked at the number of how much money that they say that they're saving, it's a lot of money,
Yep. Yep.
you know. But then also that also opens the door for people to question, you know, who really wants to be at a record label if now it's been downsized and consolidated? Like, how, am I gonna really get the attention that I need to get?
Yep.
Are you gonna make me feel like I gotta, I like, I'm putting some music up on TuneCore and I gotta hope that someone call me back?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Or some
Yeah.
other, you know what I'm saying? There's other DSPs out there, CD Baby, that you gotta hope and pray that someone hits you back, and that's wishing that you got the package
Yeah.
that a representative is part of it. So then, and but then at the same time, like, I look at it as a new open playing field for more people to get hired as vendors and consultants. Because I
Yep.
still,
It looks like it's going more to direct to hire, more consulting
yeah,
lanes, more
yeah.
the people that are laid off will still have work. It just won't be in an official capacity.
Well,
They might get paid more though. If they're good at
I
what they do, they
yeah,
get
I
paid more.
agree. But then I also think that a lot of people who got laid off are so much in their
Yep.
feelings that they probably don't want to do no more work with the company.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? And that's based highly off of what I'm seeing on social media right now.
Well,
From these
speaking
people,
to that, because you have the experience, like you said, you were DTP. Things didn't go well. You had the opportunity to come back to Players Circle. How did you?
hmm
How did? Let's give some advice to someone. How did you get over the sting of being laid off to understand the bigger opportunity or the bigger picture that was there?
Oh, because I believed in Player
Ah,
Circle and I already heard all their records, and
yeah,
then two, I already knew what Two Chains and Dollar Boy, because, like, Two Chains he's a brainiac.
yeah,
So, like,
facts.
and his relationships is serious. His Rolodex is crazy.
Yeah,
So, like, I saw what they had, and I truly believed in them.
yeah,
And then at the same time, like, you know why not come back and stick it to them
yeah, right.
personally, but on some competitive, but like,
Yeah, to show
no,
them you
no
got it. Like
vendetta, like,
sometimes you got to
so,
show them. Yeah,
yeah, like, I'm back in the building, I'm working this,
yeah,
and I'm gonna run it up, and I'm gonna help them, and we're gonna do this, and we're gonna take it to where it needs to be, and I'm gonna do my thing, and I'm gonna exit stage left, and that's one thing that Lisa taught me. She was like, always go into a situation as if, like, with your passion.
yeah.
Don't let your ego or your get in the way because you feel some type of way. My passion is gonna make me override all that, and I'm gonna do my best at it. So, that's how I looked at the whole situation. I looked at it like, hey, I'm in the building, and then EP was at Def Jam at the time. So, like, I had a dope infrastructure and base of that's the people at Def Jam that was already talking to me and in the loop. So when I needed to get stuff, I kept DTP, kept them in the loop, and I was a team player, you know.
Now, as you made a post that I really loved, I want to highlight it. You said DJs are music journalists. Why did you make that post? And how do DJs become that music? Because I'm with you. I believe DJs should be recording all they're doing for artists. They need to be posting some, like, there's a lot of truth to that. So what made you make that post?
Um, I'll say it was my homie over at the Vibe magazine.
Okay.
I was just thinking of I was thinking of a new platform I wanted to create because I did another platform for another magazine called Rolling Out, called Masters of the DJ.
Mm-hmm.
And And that's when I was interviewed a collective of DJs. They featured their mixes and stuff like that. So there's one day I was just sitting back and I was part of the 5 mic console for the Source. So being part of that, I kind of thought about when all the DJs, or when you used to go to the Source magazine, you saw those songs. You know, they had the mic. You have 5 mics, 3 mics, but you still had people who voted on them, and they were DJs. Most of them were DJs.
Yeah.
So, and then I thought about it like, man, you know what? Like real shit. Like DJs are journalists, but in the club,
Yeah.
because when they're doing their piece and when they're doing their mixes, that's that actual write up
Yep.
on a music review. You know what I'm saying? So then that's how I came up with it, and now I'm looking to. Crazy you asked, I'm looking to start that platform in another 3 more weeks.
Oh, dope. Okay. Well,
Yeah,
salute
yeah,
to
yeah.
CL with DigiWax on your family too. We always talk about that, like getting people to understand to become media, like taking all
Mm-hmm.
this entertainment stuff and becoming media because it's another bag or it's another opportunity for you.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I know you're a busy person, so I'm not going to take too much more of your time, but do you have any advice? You've been in the game a long time. You've seen all the successful stories we've talked about. Any advice for someone who's new, trying to get in, or who's been around a little bit and trying to figure out that next move?
Figure out how much money you're going to spend per quarter.
Facts.
Put together a quarterly budget and stay within that quarterly budget. And then, but make sure that this budget is a realistic budget, that it doesn't impact your day of living, your lifestyle of living. And I don't mean, like, I look at it like this. If I know an artist that goes out every night and I say, hey, what you do? You go out every night? Oh, yeah, I be out every night. I go here. And I go, how much you spend? And they go, oh, I spend. I say, how much you spend the whole weekend? Oh, I spend like 5 bands. I go, 5 bands. That's every weekend. They go, yeah. I go, 1 weekend, 2. I go, you should make your budget 20 grand. They go, what?
Yeah,
How?
like a kid.
What do you mean? All right, let me explain to you. You know that $5,000 that you was already spending in the club? Pretend that you just went to the club last week and put that money up.
Yeah.
And do that every weekend, but don't go
Yeah.
out. And you have $20,000 budget.
How is it for you as an industry person that knows $5,000 in this game, if you put it in the right hands, can change your life? So when you see the artists that say they want to be in this game, but then they blow budgets like they do, like how does that make you react to them a little bit? Do you think they just don't know the game, or it's just the smoke and mirrors type stuff?
Well, no, sometimes I blame myself sometimes, or then I really look at what went wrong in the whole situation. You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes like we'll get a budget and we may spend it too fast to get things moving too quick because we're trying to appease the artist, expectation, instead of really having a heart-to-heart conversation with them, and really kind of, let's say, feed them their expectations of what's going to be coming in levels so they can see it. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's a little bit more advice I would give, is like, you put together the budget, but at the same time, make sure you have a schedule, what you're going to be doing. Like, everybody knows they should be doing every day. Like, I know what you got. I know you already know what you got to do tomorrow.
Yeah.
And then you know what you got to do, not tomorrow, but you know what you got to do the next day. So if this is something that you're doing in your career, you should have it mapped out somewhere in your head that you should be able to regurgitate it so fluently that you can convince.
Well, and to get into some motivational stuff for people if they don't know, writing something down and repeating it over and over again allows the universe to bring it towards you. So by writing your goals and setting your schedule there, then court's calling you out of the blue saying, you know what, I got this amazing opportunity that falls in that calendar. And it's just how it works a lot of times. Now, we've talked about a lot of calendar stuff. Anything coming up for you or your artists or anything like that we can circle on the calendar for you?
Only thing that's popping right now is Shadyville 20th anniversary, April 29th, May 3rd. We all gonna be out there live at Jordan. We're gonna be at Culture Kings. We're gonna be at Penalty Box. Um, yeah, I got us a nice little mansion.
Okay.
The guy's gonna kick it. Yeah, so we're gonna go play golf. We're gonna do some cool out stuff.
That's dope. And then besides Instagram, if people want to contact you or build with you, what's your preferred method of contact?
Email.
Okay.
Yeah, they can email me, courtdigga@gmail. COURTDIGGA@gmail.
And we mentioned, outside of music, what do you like to do for fun? Like if you got downtime, you're not working on a rollout or planning some events, what you do during downtime to enjoy yourself?
Shoo.
Or you don't get that because you're court digging, there's no days
Nah,
off.
nah, 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 nah. The craziest thing is, yo, I love to go fishing, right?
Okay.
I'm a paintball head. Um, uh, I've gotten into fashion, clothing lines, clothes and stuff. So this is one of the homies here,
Okay.
Stack Up.
Dope.
Um, um, uh, what other stuff I'm into? Like I'm into like the comic books and shit like that, you know.
That's
And
dope.
then I try to get back into gaming, but I don't know. I can't. It ain't working for me right now. So
Have you leaned into any of this Twitch stuff yet? We're gonna get a Court Digger podcast. Like you got stories, man. Like I didn't want to ask you
well,
here, but you've got more stories than anybody out here. You ever
I
thought
was
about,
I was thinking about putting something together, and I said that I'll probably revisit it after um the retreat.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, after our little getaway, because then the whole squad would be out there, and then we can all start to come up with some real dope ideas for Shadyville Worldwide, the
Yeah.
radio show that we putting together. You know what I'm saying? So like, my goal is like my focus and my goal is to really, tap in a lot more with my crew, Shadyville, and really get them really turned all the way up.
Yeah.
Because like this is a nice squad of 60
Yeah.
guys, and it's all global, and each and every one of them has their own story, you know, so which is really dope. So like, I'm really looking forward to like really tapping in a lot more with them on that,
Well, like I told you
you know.
before, but it's same thing, Court, man. Anything I can do with help with Shadyville DJs, like I've been a fan of Shadyville DJs since day one. Anything I can do to help you, Court, for real. Like we brought you into SBR, and I should have been like, let's bring us into what you're doing. You know what I mean? I was just excited to have you aboard the team and trying to figure out how to make it
Nah,
work. But
yeah,
you do
yeah,
so
bro.
much
I'm
amazing
part of
things out here
you
that
know. They don't need to know I'm part of SBR. They don't need to know. They don't need to know.
nah,
Because
that
when they
that
know,
press release
because
went out a long
because
time ago.
because
We got a lot of
because
hate
when
off that.
hey, listen, man, listen, because now they know they can all they can say is say thank you, you know.
Yeah.
The
Nah,
goal,
I
the
definitely thank you
goal,
for it, man, because
Nah, I thank you, Matt. Like I'm proud of you, bro. Like you push forward and you chopping it up. I still can't wait for us to kick it, and hopefully next year in the Indy 500
yep.
we'll be
I
because
seen
I
the
meant.
A&R just said that racing. I've got the APB out. I've got all my people saying we got to bring Court to the race this year. So I'm just trying to figure out how we can get you a venue or how we make it make
Hey,
sense.
like listen, that's the goal, man. I'm trying to. We gonna get it. We gonna get to it. Hopefully, I can work this all out and make Drew Thomas the what you call it for the Indy 500.
Oh, the
You
announcer
know.
person. Hey, let's speak that into existence right now. But
Hey, we
before we get
already.
out here, anything else you want to let people know that we might not have covered, or you want to make sure they
Um,
know?
that's it, bro. We good. We
Yeah.
Gucci. You know, we need to tap in a little bit more. I want to do one in person, man. So if I gotta come to Naptown, or you gotta come to New York, or come to the A,
Okay.
or come somewhere, we can pull up.
That
All
sounds
right.
good, man. Well, I appreciate your time tonight, and I hope you have a great night, fam.
All right, you too, brother.
Salute.
Appreciate you, man. Thank you. Salute.